My son grabbed me by both arms in my own kitchen and threw me into the wall, and when he walked downstairs the next morning acting like nothing happened. He froze when he saw who was sitting at my breakfast table. There I was at the head of that oak table, and Marcus strolled in with that cocky walk, reached for a blueberry scone I'd been baking since 3 a.m. Started running his mouth about how things were finally going to change now that I understood the rules. But those words died when the chair beside me scraped back, and Judge Patricia Lawson stood up in her gray pantsuit. And Marcus's face went ash gray, that scone dropped and shattered, and he understood my silence wasn't fear, it was judgment. I'm Barbara Henderson, 67, Detroit. After James died from lung cancer when Marcus was 8, I raised him alone, overnight shift at Ford's Dearborn plant, then doing hair in my basement. But 12 hours before that breakfast, I realized I'd been living with a monster. The scones came out at 4:15 that morning. Butter and blueberries filled the house. Normally that smell means safety, but in those dark hours it was me gathering courage, baking my armor. My hands white with flour, I moved with borrowed calm over the terrified woman who'd been on that floor hours before. On the counter, the digital photo frame Keisha gave me cycled through my life. A picture came up. Marcus at 7 in Belle Isle Park, Detroit Tigers cap too big, grinning with missing front teeth, holding a kite string while the red kite soared. James beside him, smiling so big his eyes closed, hand on Marcus's shoulder. That picture hit like a punch. I grabbed the counter, flour everywhere, eyes closed. Suddenly I wasn't in that kitchen at 4 a.m. I was back at Belle Isle, 1988. Smell of hot dogs, James's laugh when Marcus's kite finally caught wind, Marcus squealing loud enough to scare every goose. James yelling, "Barbara, we got us an engineer," the pride in his voice, Marcus looking up like James hung the moon. Where did that boy disappear? Frames switched, Marcus in high school graduation gown, royal blue, holding his diploma. Me beside him, smiling wide, first in our family to go to college. New Covenant Baptist threw a party. Pastor Mitchell called him our young scholar. I remember that pew, chest exploding with pride. James never saw Marcus graduate Wayne State. Cancer took him sophomore year, lungs full of it from paint fumes. Left for his shift, kissed my forehead, never came back. At the funeral, Marcus held my hand so tight I lost feeling, didn't cry where anybody could see. Later, grabbed me in this kitchen and sobbed. Said he was the man now, he'd take care of me, make Daddy proud. For years, he kept that promise. Graduated, got an engineering job at GM, helped with bills. Every other Sunday, picked me up for church. Old folks said I raised him right. James was up there smiling. That pride kept me going. But 4 years ago, GM called it restructuring. Gave Marcus severance, handshake, cardboard box. For him, losing that job felt like erasing his father's legacy. James working himself to death so Marcus could have better, all for nothing. He went quiet, sharp edges. Started coming home late, smelling like beer, lying about job hunting. Money got tight, he'd borrow $300, never pay back, then $500, $800, my retirement vanished. First time he scared me was over a dripping faucet. I'd asked him 4 times to fix it. That Tuesday, I mentioned it again while washing greens. He was at the table with his laptop, said real low to let it drip. I tried explaining, he exploded. Slammed laptop, stood up fast, loomed over me. Started shouting about his life falling apart. If Daddy was here, this wouldn't happen. I cared more about a faucet than my son. Grabbed his keys, stormed out. Door slam, shook the house. Left me listening, drip, drip, drip. Each drop marking time in this new chapter where I became afraid in my own home. After that, things never went back. Full layoff came 8 months later. Final check gone, came home like a ghost, stayed in his room 3 days. When he came out, he was different. Whatever spark of the boy I raised, whatever piece of James lived in him, gone. Everything became my fault. Rain, Lions losing, James being dead. He'd scream with beer breath at 2 p.m., asking if I thought James was happy working himself to death, said I worshipped James's memory more than the living son left behind. The house became my prison. I learned the signs, how he slammed the car door, footsteps on the porch could tell if the night would be screaming or silence. Both were torture. He stopped asking for money, just took my debit card. Charges from bars, liquor stores. When I'd try to talk, same answer. It was his money too, wasn't it? The money Daddy left. I stopped inviting friends. Patricia would catch me outside, ask if everything was okay. I'd lie, say arthritis. Shame eating me alive. How could I admit my son, pride of our community, college graduate, was treating me like dirt? How could I admit I was scared of my own child? 2 months ago, he came home drunk but happy, won money playing pool, wanted to talk, but I was exhausted, told him I was going to bed. His face changed instantly, said soon as he was happy, I abandoned him. But when he was down, I sat there like a martyr staring at him like dirt. He blocked my way, talked low, worse than yelling, asked if I liked watching him suffer, made me feel superior. Said I was the holy widow who sacrificed everything for her worthless son. Stood there spitting poison 10 minutes while I took it, frozen, getting smaller with every word. When he finally moved, I went upstairs shaking. Locked my door, sat on my bed. For the first time in forever, I cried, quiet crying, muffling sobs so he wouldn't hear. Last night was different. He crossed a line. It was 2:47 a.m. when I heard his key at the lock. I sat in my sewing room wrapped in my bathrobe, waiting. Door flew open, bang. He stumbled in soaked from rain, threw his keys at the hall table, crash. My grandmother's crystal candy dish shattered. Hearing it break felt like my heart splitting. He kicked the door shut, came toward the back. Smell hit first, whiskey, rain, rage. He stopped in the doorway. What the hell, sitting here in the dark like a ghost. Waiting to lecture me, I stood up, tried to stay calm. I'm not going to lecture you, just want you to get some rest. You're soaked, we can talk in the morning. Wrong thing to say, he roared. Don't tell me what to do, grabbed my arms, fingers like steel claws digging in. Pain immediate, burning. I cried out, begged him to stop, but he wasn't listening. Eyes glazed over, started shaking me violently. My body whipped around like a rag doll. Head snapped back and forth, glasses flew off, world spun, blur of lights and shadows. He was screaming that I only cared about things, about this house, about James, that he was nothing to me. Then he threw me, not pushed, threw me like trash. Time slowed, saw the wall getting closer, no time to protect myself. Impact was brutal, back hit with hollow thud, felt like my spine would snap, knocked all air out. I slid down, collapsed on the floor in a heap. Pain overwhelming, head throbbing, back sharp, arms burning, world spinning. He stood there, chest heaving, fists clenched, looking down at me with unreadable expression. Thought it was over. But he took a step toward me. I flinched. His hand came up fast, violent. The slap cracked through the air. Head snapped to the side. Felt my lip tear against my teeth. Hot blood filled my mouth. That was it, the final act. He stood over me few more seconds. I looked up from that floor. My son, the baby I carried, and I didn't recognize him. The man with those hate-filled eyes was a stranger, a monster. Then without a word, he turned his back on his mother lying bruised and bleeding. Went upstairs, heard his bedroom door slam, the sound that sealed both our fates. The silence was heaviest thing I ever felt. Only sound was rain and ringing in my head. I lay there forever, every muscle screaming, back of head throbbing, taste of blood strong. Tears came silent, hot. They weren't anger tears, pure grief. The pain of betrayal, of looking at your child and seeing a stranger, realizing all your love produced a man who could hit his own mother. I thought about James. What would he say? James was gentle. Never once raised his voice in 22 years of marriage. If he saw what Marcus became, his heart would break. The image of my husband gave me a spark. I couldn't just lie here. James wouldn't want that. I was made of stronger stuff I'd just forgotten. With a groan, pushed myself up using the sewing table. Got to my feet slowly, legs shaking. Walked to the bathroom holding whatever I could reach. Flipped the light. Woman in mirror was broken. Gray hair wild. Left cheek swollen, turning purple. Lip split, blood crusting at corner. I touched that bruised cheek. The skin was hot. As I touched it, I didn't just feel pain. I felt humiliation, shame. That mark wasn't just a bruise. It was proof of my failure. Failure as a mother who didn't see the monster. Failure as a woman who let fear silence her. And right there, looking at that mark, sadness turned into something else. Cold, hard anger, not hot anger like Marcus's. Cold, calculating anger that didn't scream, it whispered. And it whispered, never again. I splashed cold water on my face. Water stung my lip but woke me up, dried my face. Looked in mirror again. The broken woman was gone. Woman staring back had steel in her eyes. I thought about options. Could do nothing, make up tomorrow, say I fell, Marcus might apologize, back to walking on eggshells until next explosion. Until when? Until my head hit something I didn't get up from. No, could pack a bag, call my daughter Keisha in Atlanta, abandon my home. But this house was mine, my sweat, James's sweat paid for it. Why should I run? So that left the third option, hardest, most painful, only real solution. The one that might save my life, and maybe in some way save his too. I got the phone, sat at the dining room table, took a deep breath. Made the first call, dialed the number I'd known 30 years. After 3 rings, hello, Patricia, it's Barbara, sorry to call at this hour. Pause, sheets moving. Barbara, what's wrong? I need you. It happened again, this time. Worse, heavy sigh, did he hurt you? Yes, call the police. Not a question, a command from the judge she used to be. I am, but first, could you come over for breakfast at 8 sharp? Another pause, she understood. I'm not coming for breakfast, Barbara. I'm coming to hold court. Where is he? Sleeping, drunk. Good, let him sleep. Don't talk to him. I'll be there at 8. You're doing the right thing. The hardest and rightest thing. Relief washed over me. Wasn't alone. Took another breath, dialed the second number. Detroit Police, what's your emergency? This isn't exactly an emergency. I'd like to speak with Sergeant David Martinez. Ma'am, it's 4M. Sergeant Martinez is off duty. I know, but we go to the same church. Please contact him. This is domestic violence. I'm the victim. Tone shifted immediately. Hold on. I waited. Sergeant David, good man, deacon at New Covenant Baptist. He'd known Marcus since Marcus was in youth choir, but he was also a cop. After minutes, David's voice came on, thick with sleep. Mrs. Henderson, what's going on? For the second time, I had to say it. Marcus assaulted me. He came home drunk and hit me, rustling like he was getting up fast. Where is he? Are you safe? He's sleeping. I'm safe for now, but I don't want sirens and lights. I want to do this with dignity. Silence. Mrs. Henderson, I have a plan. Judge Patricia Lawson will be here at 8. I want you to come. You and 2 officers, I want you to walk in, sit down, handle this civilized before you take him away. David sighed. That's highly irregular. I know, but you know me, you know Marcus. If a squad car shows up with sirens, he'll fight. I want him to look me in the eye, Patricia in the eye, you in the eye. I want him to understand what he's done. Long silence. I understand. I'll be there at 8. But if he wakes up, if he tries anything, call immediately. I understand. God bless you. God bless you, ma'am. 2 calls made. Plan in motion. Went back to the kitchen, started on next batch of scones. Justice was going to be served, and it would taste bittersweet. I set that table with care. White linen tablecloth. Best china, wedding set with pink roses James saved 3 months to buy. Silver, fresh daisies from my garden. Table looked beautiful, scene of peace, perfect stage for the final act. At 8:03 am, I heard Marcus's bedroom door, footsteps, shower running quick, footsteps downstairs. I sat perfectly still, hands folded, navy church dress showing every bruise. He appeared in the doorway, blinked, took in the scene, tablecloth, china, silver, steaming food. Confusion, then looked at me, really looked. Saw his eyes fix on my lip, the bruise, but his reaction wasn't shock, it was a smirk of satisfaction. In his mind, this feast was surrender, apology. Well, what do I owe the honor? Didn't answer, just watched. He sat down with a thud, reached for a scone. Gotta admit, Ma, nobody makes blueberry scones like you. Took a huge bite, then pointed the rest at me. See, you finally figured out who runs things. Little discipline and everything falls into place. No remorse, just pride, and that's when the doorbell rang sharp, clear. Marcus stopped, scowling. Who the hell is that? You invite somebody? Yes, I said, first word that morning. I did. He slammed his cup down. I don't want to see anyone, send them away. I ignored him, stood slowly, walked to the door. He yelled after me, didn't look back, opened the door. Morning air drifted in on my porch. Judge Patricia Lawson in her gray pantsuit. Sergeant David Martinez in uniform, cap in hand, 2 younger officers behind him. Patricia looked at my face. Fury flashed in her eyes, controlled instantly. She nodded. Barbara, Patricia, Sergeant, please come in. Coffee's ready. They entered in silence. Authority, law, justice. We walked to the dining room. Marcus had stood up, annoyed. When he saw the group, Patricia's bearing, David's uniform, those officers, his jaw dropped. Arrogance melted, face went confused to panicked, color drained, eyes jumped from me to them, opened his mouth, no sound, hand holding scone went limp. Scone fell, hit plate, rolled to floor, broke into crumbs, the end of his reign. Patricia, with terrifying calm, walked past Marcus like furniture, went straight to the head James's chair, pulled it out, sat down, straightened her jacket, then looked at Marcus, just looked. Under that gaze, Marcus shrank. David and officers remained in doorway. Their presence spoke volumes. Patricia reached for coffee. Coffee smells wonderful, poured herself a cup, added cream, stirred, gentle sounds cutting through tension, took a sip, finally spoke. Marcus. I remember when you were little, you used to help me carry groceries, such a polite child. Marcus swallowed hard. Your father James would have been so proud of that boy, the boy who went to college. She paused, glanced at me. Eyes returned to Marcus, softness gone. Where did he go? Where is that man now? Marcus stammered. This is just a family misunderstanding. A family misunderstanding? Patricia repeated coldly, gestured to me. Look at your mother's face. Does that look like a misunderstanding? He couldn't look. No, Patricia said sharply. That has a name. David stepped forward, pulling out notepad. Marcus Henderson. We've received complaints about disturbing the peace from neighbors over 6 months. We have a record of altercation at Murphy's Bar, and this morning at 3:47 am, I received a domestic assault complaint from this address, the victim being your mother. Every word was a nail. List of failures read aloud. Humiliation palpable, I stood, eyes turned to me, walked slowly around table until beside Patricia's chair, placed hand on her shoulder, then looked at my son. Marcus, I said, voice calm but cold. I didn't call them out of hate. I called because I love you, he snorted. You love me, calling cops on me. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't protecting someone from consequences, it's delivering them to consequences. Room fell silent. Patricia nodded. Turned to David, gave slight nod signal. David's voice was formal. Marcus, please stand up and place your hands behind your back. Marcus's face showed panic. You can't be serious. David, you've known me since I was a kid. You're really going to arrest me? I'm arresting you because of your mother. Please don't make this harder. Second officer moved behind. That broke his trance. Panic turned to rage. He shoved chair back, jumped up. Don't touch me. "This is family business," turned to me, eyes pleading and furious. "Ma, tell them to stop. It was just an argument. Tell them you don't want to press charges." Everyone looked at me, last chance to back down. For a second, my heart faltered, but then I thought of that floor, the blood, his hand. I found my voice. "I've said everything I have to say. I'm not going to lie for you, not anymore." Final sentence. Marcus's face crumbled. David didn't wait. Swift move, took Marcus's arm, turned him around. Younger officer took the other hand. Then I heard it, metallic sound of handcuffs closing, sound of freedom for me, rock bottom for him. Marcus sobbed guttural defeat. David read rights, "You have the right to remain silent." They escorted him out. As he passed, he stopped, looked me in the eye, face wet. "Mama," thought he'd apologize, but no. "You're going to regret this," he said, voice low, poisonous. "You're going to be all alone and you're going to regret it." Last threat, last attempt at control through fear, but fear in me had died. I met his gaze. "Maybe I'll regret that it had to come to this, but I will never regret choosing my own life today." David pulled him gently. They continued. I watched them cross the hall. Officer opened door. Bright sun flooded in. Didn't go to watch. Just stood inside and listened. Footsteps, David's voice, police car door slamming, hollow, final, engine starting, driving away, fading, then silence returned, but different silence. Not heavy, light silence. Empty, yes, painful, yes. But light silence of peace, silence of a house no longer holding fear. I stood there. Muscles that had been tense for hours began relaxing. Wave of exhaustion hit, my knees buckled. Patricia's firm hand caught my arm. She helped me sit. "It's over," she said softly. And only then did I allow myself to fall apart, covered my face and wept. Wept for the loss, for the shame, for the pain. Wept for the boy he was and the man he never became. Wept for the loneliness ahead. And I wept for the terrifying relief of being finally, absolutely free. Thank you for listening to my story. Subscribe if you haven't already. This is how we support each other. Take care and catch you in the next video.